If you've got a recruiter call coming up for a product manager role, here's exactly what to do to make sure you pass it with flying colors and you don't throw up any red flags. And if you're a PM looking for your next product role, feel free to use the link in the description to schedule a time to speak with our team. If you have a recruiting call scheduled, it means that someone has reviewed your resume, they've found that you meet the bar for what they're looking for, potentially to have a conversation, and they are looking to chat with you to see if they can A, confirm that you are the right person and they should put you through the loops of the interview, or to see if there's any red flags and they could disqualify you based on the stuff that you say. Often you may think of a recruiting screen as something that you just have to check the boxes. Surely you're going to get through it. Just answer some questions and then move on with scheduling the interview. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Probably about a quarter of recruiting screens are going to finish with the recruiter saying, we'll get back to you. And then you get a response later saying they're no longer interested in proceeding. So there's only two ways that can really happen. Our job on the recruiting call is to make sure that we address the problems of the recruiter and that we don't throw up any red flags. First thing is we have to address the real problem of the recruiter. For that, you actually have to know what the problem is. So either you've read the job description, you've removed all of the nonsense generic product management descriptors, and you've just zeroed in on the 1, 2, or 3 things that you know the recruiter is actually looking for. Think about it like this. As a hiring manager, you might write a generic job description, or you might ask ChatGPT to write a job description, but then you're going to add 1, 2, or 3 things that you're really looking for. I really need that ad tech experience, or I really need that personalization experience, or I really need that B2C experience with onboarding, or whatever the case may be. The hiring manager often knows what they're planning, so they're going to say, hey, I need this thing, recruiter. So the recruiter will kind of ignore the job description largely and focus on those 3 things, especially when they're screening candidates on the call. So they're on the call with you and they got these 3 things. Therefore, before the call, you read the job description, you found those 1, 2, 3 things, and you've thought about them, and you've crafted or adjusted your narrative or your messaging so that it matches the problems that they have. So that when you're on the call, you're actually addressing the problems that they have, or you're probing around those problems. You don't want to give your backstory for 10 minutes on the call, talk about everything about where you're from and where you went to school and everything, and never address the problem that the recruiter is actually trying to solve. So bucket 1 is understanding the problems and then being the solution or a potential solution for them. If you can't find the problems in the job description, it's time for you to put on your discovery hat as a PM and actually ask questions, ask clarifying questions to find out what the problems actually are. Hey, what problems are you actually looking to solve? What does success look like? What are important criteria that you're looking for? You're doing discovery on the call. So before you give too much information about yourself, about what you're a solution to, first find out what the problems actually are, either from the job description or straight from the recruiter. That's the first big bucket. If you've done that, if you've presented yourself as at least a possible solution to the problem, you're basically on your way there. You're 90% likely to continue with the actual interview. That is, unless you hit the red flags. First red flag is communication. You are not a clear communicator. You ramble all the time. You don't have a point. You're all over the place. You obviously say too much. You don't address the core problem. Red flag number 2, you talk a lot about yourself and your problems. Oh, here's what I'm looking for in my next role. Oh, this is really awesome for my career. Oh, I really want to do more leadership. They don't really care about you too much. They care about their own problems, and that's perfectly normal. So if you're constantly kind of hyper focused on me, that might come across as someone that's a little bit egotistical and perhaps not a good fit from a culture perspective. The third thing is insensitive, show and demonstrate some sort of bias. I've had this situation. People are just downright racist, sexist, otherwise discriminatory right on the call, on the recruiter screen, not even on the interview. That's an easy flag. And I don't think that's a lot of you, but an easy way to check yourself is just, have you thought about bias in the last couple of years? If you've thought about it and if you keep it kind of top of mind, if it's something that you know exists, then you're already in a good spot. If you have never thought about bias, then probably there are some unexamined biases that are happening, and you might hit upon them accidentally in a recruiter conversation. Then another one might be that you disqualify yourself by saying something about the geography doesn't work, something about your previous experience, you don't have a certain experience, or you provide clarity around a certain element of your experience that disqualifies you now that you know that. You don't exactly yet know on the first recruiting call why they called you there. You don't know what actually hooked them. You don't know what it was that brought you this call. So first thing, find that out so you don't accidentally throw that out the window. And then the other thing is, I don't want you to self-own. I don't want you to self-disqualify. I don't feel like I could do it. I'm not confident enough. I've never done this before, or this is not really my area of expertise. I can't tell you how often you can just disqualify yourself for no reason other than you're just anxious about the conversation, which is perfectly normal. You could really do it. Think about all the other things you've done in your career successfully, the impact that you've had, the projects that you worked with, the people that you've collaborated with, how effective you were, and the things that you delivered. You can deal with another challenge. So give yourself the opportunity to at least evaluate that interview and evaluate that offer. Don't right away shut the door on it because you don't fit it 10 out of 10. So don't self-disqualify. If you do all these, you should come out of the recruiting conversation with an interview scheduled or about to be scheduled, and you should be in good shape. Remember, wear your discovery hat, find out as much as you can, and position yourself as a potential solution to the problems that the recruiter or the hiring manager has. Thanks very much. See you next time.